What's going on, everybody? I want to get on here and talk about the NRA convention I went to a couple weeks ago. You may be thinking pew pew, but it is not that. It is actual National Restaurant Association. It's a major convention in Chicago, wall-to-wall restaurant equipment, software, hardware, food distributors, equipment manufacturers, equipment distributors. If it's in a restaurant, it's there. This thing was absolutely huge, blown away. I have never really gone to many conventions. This year I went to AHR in Vegas and was blown away, and the same happened here at the NRA convention. It's awe-inspiring, just the amount of people there, the equipment, the new innovations that are displayed. So if you get a chance to ever go, check it out. So what I do, I'm an equipment repair guy. I fix anything in the kitchen, some things not even in the kitchen. Just depends on the customer. So I started a podcast. I started some other things trying to promote the trade, food service repair industry. And they thought it was a good idea to send me up there, check it out, maybe network, meet some people. So that's what I did. So I got up Friday morning, bright and early, headed up from Chicago. I live northeast of Indianapolis, so it's depending on traffic, 4.5 hour drive, just depends on traffic. So I headed up there. I met my branch manager up there. We started the day off on Friday by going to Partstown. Partstown is our parent company for who I work for. So I got to meet some staff there, some marketing people, talk about some goals, some things for me to work on. And I also got to tour the facility. If you ever get a chance, check out their facility, please do. It is huge, and it is amazing how things work there. I'm not just saying it because I'm an employee, but I've seen the videos of some of the stuff, and it really doesn't do it justice. Between the incoming and outgoing sides of everything they have there, the conveyor systems, not to mention the robots. The robots are pretty cool. 100 of these little robots, and there's bins stacked. I forget how high, how deep. It's a maze. These robots just go around and they just move bins all the time. They're moving bins, they're picking parts, they take them over to the end, they drop them down. A person then has a pick, and they pick the part that is required for that order. And then that bin is picked up by a robot and stored somewhere else. And they're everywhere. I'll have a video I'll put at the end of this podcast on the video side. If you guys want to watch it, check it out. But I could watch these things for hours. When we first got there, one was broke down, so a guy had to go out there. He tried fixing it, couldn't fix it. So he brought it out and turned everything back on. But I got some, I forget how many cycle counts these things can do, but they pump out some kind of crazy numbers. The problem is they can go faster than the people that can pick the orders, so they're kind of limited. But I think they said there was 100. I think they're getting ready to add another 60, so it's growing. It's pretty cool. We'll see. So if you ever get a chance, go to Partstown, check it out. A lot of the other things there I liked. I think, to be honest, Partstown kind of gets a bad name because they're so big and everyone thinks they're a monopoly and they're taking over the world in our industry. But they're really doing good things. Partstown has a pretty cool culture. They're really focused on their employees. So, like walking the floor, there's actually coolers out there with beverages. There's snacks for the employees, take care of them. They have a cafeteria. They have a full gym for their employees so they can work out on site. They have a game room, ping pong tables, and all kinds of stuff in there. It's an amazing facility. They take care of their employees. Employees come first, and then I don't know what more to say. So in a couple different places throughout Partstown, they have their core values up on the wall on posters. And they are safety, integrity, community, passion, courage, and innovation. I've seen all these displayed in my time there. They also have thank you note stations, I guess. There's a couple of them, and people taking the orders can handwrite a thank you note. So if you ever get a handwritten note from somebody, if you order parts, they really take the time to write it themselves. So that's pretty cool. They have a timeline wall, and that's in my video where you can see where they started, how they've grown, when they've acquired other companies, service companies, parts suppliers, that kind of stuff. And that's pretty cool. They got some pretty neat things coming up in the future, so stay tuned as far as that goes. What else? I was able to see how they do the part spin thing. That was pretty cool. They have a little section out in the warehouse, and they put the parts in this little it's in a machine, I guess. And the cameras just spin and take tons of pictures, and then the computer just pieces it all together, and then you have part spin. So they were actually working on it, was there. It's a pretty slow process, so I didn't hang around and watch it too long, but I got a little bit of it. Like I said, a lot of this stuff's going to be in the end. I had all kinds of footage from the show, from Partstown, from being out in the city, and a bunch of it got corrupted. So I tried taking everything from my phone and putting it on a solid state drive, and apparently I lost a lot of stuff. So I gotta get that figured out moving forward, but you know, it is what it is when you deal with electronics. So once I was done at Partstown touring, checking out the facilities, we having meetings and stuff, we went and ate lunch at Portillo's in Chicago. We got to eat Portillo's, I guess. Went downtown to the hotel, checked in, got parked, got settled in. Relaxed for a little bit, had a couple of mixers to attend. So the first off was the CFESA mixer. As you know, I'm a CFESA certified technician, master certified technician. I also train entry level or basic refrigeration for CFESA as well, and we are a CFESA certified company. So we got ready, we all loaded up, headed over there. I got to talk to all the people from CFESA, discuss upcoming training classes, and just catch up with everybody. I had a pretty good crew. They're all pretty good friends of mine. Then I started meeting some people from the industry I've never met. A lot of them I know from online, a lot of them I didn't know at all. And it was pretty cool. We got to meet Rich Maliki, a couple other people. It was a blast. Just had a couple drinks, just walking around talking, networking, mingling. I was blown away at the pure amount of people that knew my name, knew who I was, and I had no idea who they were. My theme for the weekend, anytime I talk to somebody, I'd just say, I don't know how I ended up here. And it was the truth. I had no idea how I got there. I mean, just a series of events that kind of led to me being there. We went to the Partstown event. It was a party / retirement party. It was pretty cool. Huge event, tons of people. Just walking around, networking, discussing things with people. It was pretty cool. I was out pretty late, considering I got up at like 3 in the morning, drive to Chicago, it'd be traffic. So I had a good time. See a lot of good people. Caught a lot of people I used to work with, people I've never met before, industry people from other companies, manufacturers. It was an absolute blast. I was taken back at the pure amount of people that knew me. Like I said earlier, it was crazy. So that wraps up my Friday night. Took an Uber back to the hotel. Got up Saturday morning, and it was time to go to the event. Met some of the group down at the breakfast, and we loaded up on the trolleys and headed over to the event center. Got to the show, printed our badges, and away we went. This place was huge, and it was absolutely packed full of anything for restaurants. We had some obligations with some of the guys that we were with to meet some of the third-party vendors and stuff like that. So we went over and did some of that, and then it's pretty much just tour whatever you want to see. There were certain manufacturers that some of the guys had to talk to, that kind of stuff, but I didn't really have a plan. I was kind of blown away. I was like a kid in a candy store. So many pieces of new equipment I've never seen before or have worked on, or people were launching new equipment. Got some pretty cool videos. Like I went by, I believe it was a Champion booth, and they had a cutaway for this machine. Had plexiglass on the doors, and it had some lights inside, and they had the pumps running. You can see it washing. They also had one of their units that has a heat pump that actually heats the water for the hot water side, and it also uses it for steam extraction. I've worked on a couple of those. They're pretty cool to work on, pretty different. That was it as far as the dish machine and Champion booth. Went to a lot of different booths as far as ice machines. I do a little bit of ice machine work, not a whole lot, but check out some of the newer ice machines. I'm fascinated with the round ball ice or the square ice, not the drinking, but the solid squares. I like to dabble in whiskey or old fashioned, and so that kind of ice is just kind of intrigues me. So I checked out a lot of that. Of course, we went to the big ones that I deal with a lot. We checked out Rationale. They had a pretty good booth. A lot of people in there for the manufacturer side and from just people wanting to check it out. I went to Altosam side. Checked out their stuff. Got a few little videos. Pretty cool, some things they have going on. The Vector oven, they've introduced steam into it now, so we'll see how that goes. So after a couple of combi oven or combi manufacturer booths, I went over to the Wellbuilt booth, check out their stuff. Do a lot of Wellbuilt work, so it's always good to check out, see what they got coming out with or what they got on display. It's pretty cool. I mean, we pretty much just made our way around, checking out all kinds, small manufacturers, big manufacturers, some juicers. Went and talked to some guys from juicers, got some pretty good feedback from them as far as my market, my area. So we'll see what that leads to. Checked out AccuTemp. AccuTemp is a pretty local company to me. They make griddles and steamers, and they're pretty cool. I actually had a conversation with one of the guys this week. They followed up with me talking to them at the booth, and look forward to maybe having one of the technical guys on and discuss some things, some tips and tricks when working on their piece of equipment. So that was my main goal, was to network with some people. Unfortunately, the show is mainly a sales show, so there's not a whole lot of technical guys on site. But you have this badge, it's got a QR code on it, and you can scan it, and they'll get your information, they'll pass it along to where it needs to go. So the biggest and busiest booth happened to be the Middleby booth. It was jumping. It encompasses all Middleby companies. It was always 4 to 6 rows deep of people. They were cooking, they were doing all kinds of stuff. They had a robot. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage because I couldn't get close enough to see it all. Like I said, this is my first year there. Didn't know what to expect or what to do. Next year, I'll have a better game plan. If a manufacturer I want to interview or see, I will make sure I am there first. I will make sure I beat everybody else there, or I will stay in there and bump my way in. I'll figure it out one way or another, but a lot of cool stuff in the Middleby booth. So pretty much just walked around checking out all kinds of stuff. Small manufacturers, large manufacturers, people everywhere just cooking food, which is kind of weird. They were cooking, just handing out steak, handing out pizza, handing out everything. I mean, if you go there and you leave hungry, that's your own fault. But the people were so nice, so polite. It was weird. I didn't know what to do. So you could easily spend 2 or 3 days there just walking around and not see everything. I was kind of blown away by the sheer size, and I'll say that over and over again. I mean, I've never been to really conventions like this. This is the only second time. I went to AHR back in January, February, and so this stuff's all new to me. There's everything there, from equipment manufacturers to dealer rep groups to service providers, third-party vendors that set up service, food distributors, food manufacturers. So there's no shortage of things to see. If you get a chance, go check it out, but make sure you have a couple days. I kind of messed myself up because I didn't take my sleep machine, so by the time Sunday rolled around, I couldn't do it. I didn't have a voice. I was beat up, tired. So I chose to pack up and go home early on Sunday. It really sucked. It kind of sucked some of the fun out of my trip, but I made a mistake and it happens. So I live and learn, I guess. With all that being said, if you can get to the show, go. It's a yearly show. I believe it's in Chicago every year. If you're going to go, make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes. Make sure you go for game plan. If you just want to see the whole entire show, you better give yourself 3 days. If you're going just to meet with a couple people, a couple of groups or whatever, you can probably do it in a day. I was supposed to go 2 days, but unfortunately I got sick and had to come home. So I missed out on Sunday, but it's a blast. So today we'll do a little tech tip. I'm going to try to incorporate these into the episodes from now on. So today let's talk about calibrating a convection oven. Had a customer this week. I don't do it very often, but I had to change some door switches on his oven, and he said it was 50 degrees out. He said he set it for 350, it was tweaking 300. Set it 400, tweaking 350. So I went ahead and checked it out. So convection ovens are pretty easy because they're a lot faster than a standard oven. This one had a digital control. So I had a board and it had a temp probe. It didn't have a mechanical thermostat, so it's pretty easy, pretty fast to calibrate. So I like to take my temp probe and I'll hang it in the very center of the cavity, or as close to the center as I can get. I will turn the oven on and I will let it cycle 3 times. You want to let it cycle 3 times so it becomes even. The heat becomes evenly distributed. and that way you get a good idea of what's going on inside the oven. Once the oven is cycled 3 times, you know it's heated up and saturated well and heated evenly. Then I like to compare the readout of my digital temperature probe to the set point of the oven. In this case, I had my oven set at 350 and I was reading about 325, 327. So I dropped down the front control board on this oven, and there's a board of a potentiometer. Now remember, I have a digital temp control on this unit. I can go over mechanical controls if you'd like later on. But on this digital temp controller, there's a board of a potentiometer. I adjust the potentiometer until the oven kicks on, and I stop. And I let the oven cycle and see where it gets to. And I do that multiple times until I get the temperature of the oven set point to match my temperature on my display on my thermometer. And it may take a few times, but it's pretty easy. They cycle pretty fast being a convection oven. And once I'm pretty satisfied where it's kicking on and off at, I'm good to go. So in this case, I got it to where it would cycle off at 354 and back on at 347. So that's close enough for 350 for me. You're not gonna get much closer than that on any manufacturer. So once that was done, I buttoned the unit up, put everything back together, and restored it back to operation for the customer. Now on digital displays like mechanical controls, they're a little different. So on a mechanical control, it's a little different. Same process. Probe still goes in the middle of the oven, still let it cycle 3 times. Once it's cycled 3 times, you compare your readout to what the knob is. So let's say I set 350, my readout's 300 degrees. I will pull that knob off. You want to leave it set at 350. Inside the center of that knob, there's a little bitty set screw. It's probably covered up by some nail polish or something else. So take your little precision screwdriver, dig that nail polish out of there so you can turn that screw. That screw just puts pressure or release pressure on a diaphragm. That's how it adjusts it. So adjust it to where it kicks on, let it cycle off, and keep doing the process again. Now the only thing I will warn you is you want to make sure you keep that stem of that knob right where it's at. So if it moves, it's changing your set point. So a lot of times I will turn my screw, put my knob back on there, and see where it's, make sure it's, you know, set to 350. You want to stay at 350, and you just want to adjust that that center little set screw in there. When I'm calibrating a thermostat, I try to ask the customer what they cook at, so that way it's calibrated to, say if they always cook at 350, I will set to 350. That way that's their optimum cooking temperature, and we're always dealing with that. So it's not a hard process. It can be tedious, but it's not hard at all. So on your non-convection ovens, it's the same process. It's just, it's going to take a lot longer because you don't have that fan in there to move that heat around. So it takes a lot longer for that oven to heat up, but it's still the same process. You're just going to be there a lot longer. So make sure your customer's aware that, hey, I can calibrate this, but it's going to take X amount of time, and go from there. Now I will tell you, if it's more than 50 degrees, I'm not going to calibrate it because it's way too far out of adjustment. Some guys will go up to 100. In my past, 50 is about the max I feel comfortable with, because after that, there's some other underlying conditions that may be causing issues. On the mechanical ones, which is maybe time to change it. On the digital ones, it could be just a bad probe. It just depends on the unit. So 50 degrees is about as most I would calibrate anything. Oven and fryer. I don't like to go higher than that, just because it's lost its efficiency at that point.